Thanks for joining us here at 5:30, everybody. Very few things unite us these days. But for years now, and especially early in the pandemic, tens of millions of American families had something in common: Netflix. The old DVD by mail company transformed into the most popular streaming service, and it's held that title now for more than a decade. So it is pretty big news that for the first time ever, Netflix lost subscribers in the first 3 months of this year. Netflix ended 2021 with about 222 million paid subscribers around the world, but subtract 200,000 for the first quarter of this year. The company says it may lose another 2 million in the second quarter, so that's this month plus May and June. Well, the bad news caused Netflix stock to tank today. It closed at almost $350 per share yesterday, but then by the end of trading today, it dropped to $226. For some perspective, it was up at almost $700 just 5 months ago. It's now at its lowest point since early 2018. There are lots of factors at play on why Netflix is losing subscribers, but many theorize that it's cost. If you go back to 2014, Netflix had basic service at $8 a month, standard $1 more, premium at $12. Well, there has been a regular price increase year after year since in 2014, 15, 17, 19, 2021. Now look at this. Basic is $10 a month. That doesn't even include HD. Standard service is $15.50, and premium is now at $20 a month. Netflix, the most expensive on-demand streaming service. Joining us live to talk about what's happening with Netflix now is J. Christopher Hamilton, an attorney and assistant professor at Syracuse University's Newhouse School of Public Communications. It's great to have you on. Thanks for your time.
Oh, my pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
So we'll talk about the price in a moment that I just pointed out there. But first, I want to ask you, the CEO of Netflix seems to think that password sharing is a big part of the blame here. He wasn't too worried about that not too long ago, but he now says that a crackdown could be on the way. What do you expect there, and how might that work if they go after people sharing passwords? That's an interesting perspective, that password sharing is part of the issue. Here's an assumption built into that. The assumption built into that is that the people sharing passwords, if they were no longer able to share passwords, would actually pay for a subscription. And I think that's an assumption that can't be made, considering the dynamics at play here in the economics. But putting that aside, what the technical challenges in preventing people from, cheating the system and acquiring content like that, I just really think that's a de minimis issue. I really don't believe that Netflix's, financial woes are related to somebody, 3 or 4 college kids sharing passwords in separate dorm rooms. So, you imagine that there's password sharing, too, with all the streaming services out there, right? Not just
Exactly.
Netflix. Do you think if Netflix does go through with this approach that you'll see others like HBO Max, Disney Plus, and others, taking a look at that as well?
Again, I think all the services, I'm sure, have a very serious, take a very serious position on any kind of, infringement on these streaming services' rights, and unlawfully using content that they aren't paying for. But you don't hear anyone else complaining about that, right? I mean, you just really hear Netflix complaining about that, which leads Netflix. It's another one of these things. They need to create a perception that their disruption in the business, to their business, is explainable and has a rational explanation. And I just don't believe that this is any significant contributor to the fall in the stock price, their lack of subscription. They just reached they reached a threshold in the market. That's the issue. Nothing to do with password share.
Yeah, so beyond password sharing, we mentioned Netflix has really been, the biggest player in streaming for more than a decade now. But the industry's changed a lot, right? There's so much more competition now. So you wonder how much of a factor that is. And then people also who responded once we posted this story say they left because of rising costs. We showed how much more expensive it is now. If you want the, top tier service, it's $20 a month. Also, others have said, some of the shows they liked got canceled or moved to another platform. What do you think Netflix is doing wrong right now?
I mean, I think Netflix, part of the issue for Netflix is it's been entrenched in a very specific approach to the business, right? They've been going on record stating that, they are averse to the idea of advertising, subsidizing content. They coined this approach to content binging, meaning releasing all the episodes at one time so we can consume as much as, Stranger Things as we want in one sitting. And they've had to revisit a lot of those strategies because on one hand, they've been implemented by their competitors, but on the other hand, it's not cost effective, right? So I think the issue Netflix has had is they maybe didn't prepare soon enough for the new market entrants like Disney Plus, and they didn't pivot quick enough to address the reality is you need to incorporate an AVOD or a hybrid approach to the SVOD business model.
Finally, a lot of our viewers also pointed out there are just so many places now to watch TV shows, right? So there are about a dozen services in the U.S. that have at least 10 million or more subscribers. That's on top of old broadcast television like we're on right now here on Channel 2. Plus, you have cable networks. Is this just an early sign maybe that there is a lot of saturation in the market? I mean, are we in the middle of a streaming bubble that could burst?
Yeah, we certainly are. I mean, research shows that any more than 5 services, people tend to feel as though they're just kind of, their subscriptions are out of control, right? And a number of people have well over 5. I know I'm one of those people. So I think we're definitely at a saturation bubble when it comes to the streaming services, kind of selling us content, the number of options of content out there, and, just the number of people ravenous for more. So it's an interesting inflection. I think ultimately what we're seeing happen is the content industry come full circle, right? So we started out with this idea of cable bundles and, a multitude of cable channels, right? Now we're just seeing that being done virtually with services like Pluto, Zumo, Tubi TV, and other quote unquote fast programming services, providing the same options and people feeling, but for a lower price point.
Yeah, it's interesting. So many people cut the cord in an effort to save money. But if you're buying 5, 6, 7, 8 subscription plans a month, you might be spending more than you were back when you had regular old cable. J. Christopher Hamilton is an attorney and assistant professor at Syracuse University. Thanks so much for coming on.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, moving on.